After saving money for quite a while, young me went into my local Pick n Pay to buy a movie from a section where they sold cheap DVDs. My criteria for picking which DVD to buy was simple. It must have a cool name and a poster. And so when I saw Jungle Girl and the Lost City of Dinosaurs, I chose it. I mean, who wouldn't? It had the words dinosaur and Jungle Girl. So I bought that DVD for about 30 Rand, which is less than $1. I put it on and it was the best thing I've ever seen. One of its biggest highlights was its theme song called Let There Be Magic by Katya Winspear, a vocal teacher.
Let there be magic, and through my hand, all the animals will understand. Let there be magic, and through my hand, all the animals understand. Oh.
I couldn't get this song out of my head. I'm surprised it never reached the Billboard 100, and I'm not even joking. Over the years, I lost the DVD, but I never forgot my first purchase. So I found it online and rewatched it, and I must say, I didn't really have the best taste in movies as a kid. Jungle Girl is a film about Emma, a spoiled brat who is tired of staying in the jungle and wants to go home to England.
I hate this island. I hate this place. I hate this island. Hate this island.
On their way home, a storm leaves them shipwrecked in a mysterious island. The crew of the ship, Captain Jack and Terry, who are the best part of the movie by the way, especially Terry.
Captain, I am not going to swim in that lake.
How dare you speak to the captain like that? That's mutiny!
Steal a golden monkey statue. This causes dinosaurs to rise. How? I don't know. Why is this one coming out of the ground? Listen, it's Jungle Girl. Don't ask too many questions. Emma is recruited by Biono, the talking dolphin, to help return the golden statue before the island is destroyed. Why is the dolphin able to talk? It's Jungle Girl. Don't overthink it.
Dolphins can't talk. Life's full of surprises. I didn't think humans could swim, but you're rather good at it.
Emma becomes the Jungle Girl. Well, she doesn't do any Tarzan stunts. And with the help of some animal friends, she's able to save the island by returning the statue. The end. Yeah, that's it. It's 50 minutes long and everything happens so quickly. Now, I figured that there is not a lot of people who know this random kids film that I randomly picked up from a pile of cheap DVDs over 15 years ago. So I did some research and I found that the studio behind the film has a more interesting story than the film itself. Jungle Girl was actually the last film that they ever made. So let's take a look at how Jungle Girl killed the Burbank Animation Studio. When one thinks of Burbank Animation Studio, they think of the studio that produced cheap Disney knockoffs. But the Disney connection actually goes way back to its origins. In 1981, Tom Stacey decides to make an animation studio in Australia and he calls it Burbank Films. The name is inspired by the suburb where Disney Animation Studio is located, in Burbank, California. Tom Stacey is a smart businessman and manages to secure international distribution deals. And so the studio begins making feature-length animated films based on Charles Dickens novels like Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, A Tale of Two Cities, and A Christmas Carol, to name a few. This was quite profitable for the company. Matter of fact, it was so profitable that Stacey decided to open another animation studio in Manila, Philippines in 1984. In 1986, they secured their biggest contract from Marvel Entertainment. Yes, the Marvel. They asked them to produce animated series for them, which include Defenders of the Earth and My Little Pony. Business was good and a lot of talent both in Australia and the Philippines were being hired. Everything was going well until 1988, the year that everything went wrong. Marvel was bought by New World Pictures, and New World Pictures says to themselves, hey, instead of paying Burbank Films to make our animated shows, why not cut out the middleman and just buy their studio in Manila so we can make more profit with cheap labor? Burbank says, no, we don't want to give you our cheap labor. Capitalism. So New World throws a tantrum and decides to cancel all their contracts with Burbank Films. This practically guarantees the end of the company as they were struggling to secure new contracts and they eventually shut down and get liquidated by 1989. And that's how the original Burbank Films ended. When Burbank Films was liquidated, they brought in producer David Field to supervise the sales of their assets. David knew the value of the studio's name and saw an opportunity to resurrect his own version of the company. So he brought the name Burbank from the liquidators and created Burbank Animation Studio in 1991. This is the Burbank that most people are familiar with. They made all the cheap Disney knockoffs. And by cheap, I mean really cheap. Whilst the previous Burbank Films hired hundreds of artists to work on their films, this one only hired a small team of 6 people to oversee pre-production. And then they hired freelancers to work on production. They even subcontracted a Chinese animation studio to animate their films in order to reduce costs. With this strategy, they were able to produce a lot of films that are 50 minutes long, which are technically features even though they are shorter than the average feature. They then worked with Anchor Bay Entertainment to produce more Disney knockoffs, which include Pocahontas, Hercules, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, and The Little Mermaid. To call them Disney knockoffs is not 100% accurate because these were public domain characters. All Burbank did was release their adaptations around the same time that Disney released theirs. This leads us to Jungle Girl, their last film. Is it fair to say Jungle Girl killed the studio? Well, not really. Their downfall was inevitable. I mean, yes, they were cutting down costs by making everything on a cheap budget, but the money was coming out of their pockets and not from commissions. And so the inevitable happened and they shut down. But wait, there's more. If you go to their website, it states that they're working on a project called Roddy the Rooster and the Family Xiao. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Apologies in advance. This is actually based on a puppet show called Roddy the Rooster from 1997, which was produced by Roddy Lee, an important figure in Burbank's history. They even made an animated pilot called Roddy the Rooster's Farmyard Stories in 2000, but it seems like it didn't go anywhere. As you can see, the animation was very rough. And that is the rise, fall, rise again, and final fall of Burbank Animation.